Now, there's been some fairly recent updates about Kody Brown and his relationship with his kids. For those who know, and those who don't know, Kody Brown is the reality star of the reality show Sister Wives. Kody was married to four women, three initially, and then he added an additional one, Robin, the fourth. Now, when Robin came into the family, things started to change because Kody started to show favoritism toward Robin and her children and the children that he ended up having with Robin, and he kind of started to neglect his own children in favor of spending time with Robin and hers. Now, their relationships have been broken for a while, especially after the three initial wives divorced Kody. And all of the kids have been estranged from him since then. But he's been making comments that he's been trying to reconcile with his children. But it turns out one of his kids came forward and said that that's actually not true. And a few have actually spoken out about it. So I'm going to dive a little bit into it because I think this is interesting. Now, one of the children to speak out is actually Cody's child with his first wife, Mary, or now ex wife, Mary. Kody and Mary had one child together. This child now goes by Leon. Leon was formerly known as Mariah, but no longer goes as Mariah. Now Mariah is Leon. And Leon actually came out with a Instagram story that had some pretty interesting information. So we're going to take a look at that. Just letting you know which one Leon is because he has a lot of children. So Leon is the only child that Kody ever had with his first wife, Mary. Now, here is what Leon had to say. Taking a break from my social media hiatus to say one thing. There's a ridiculous video of my father circulating where he says he reaches out to his children. Let me be so effing clear. I have not heard from that man since my brother unalived himself. Kody blatantly blew me off at Garrison's funeral. He is a liar. He is a joke of a father. That's all. Now, this is a huge deal because most of his kids do not come out and speak about him like this. Whenever most of his children talk about him, it's actually in a very neutral way, most of them, or they'll try not to say too many bad things about him. Leon seems to be one of the first who just outright has said he's a joke, he's a bad father. There are other kids who have spoken out against his antics, but not this directly. In fact, Leon's brother, Garrison, who unfortunately took his own life, Garrison was one of the ones who sort of led the charge in outing Kody before by saying that he wasn't being a good father, that pointing out what he was doing. Him and his brother Garrison did. So to find out that, because Kody and Garrison were not on good terms when Garrison ended his life. So for Kody to still be doing this, because Kody tried to act like he regretted not being closer with his kid and not fixing things before his kid took his life. Cody acted like he regretted it, but then it seems like even at the funeral, he couldn't bring himself to be nice to his other children, which I personally find to be disgusting. Like, you can't even be a father at the funeral of one of your children to be there to support your other children. That these are your children. This blows my mind because he's mad at all of the kids because he's mad at their mothers and he's taking out his anger on the mothers on them and he's blaming them for not thinking highly of him when he's treated their mothers and them so terribly. But yeah, Leon has come out and Leon is just gloves are off, just coming at Kody. Now this tracks because some of the other kids have said similar things, but not this directly. Like for instance, Kody has a child with Christine, which is his third wife. Hayden was the only son of Christine. Hayden said that Kody had not spoken to him at their funeral or hadn't spoken to him since the funeral. A lot of the kids say that he just like doesn't really talk to them. Now, here's something interesting. Now, those familiar with the Sister Wives fandom will know about a channel called Pop Psych, where it's a psychologist who actually reacts to the Sister Wives episodes with his wife. So they actually did an interview about a month ago with Mackelty, which is Christine's daughter, one of Christine's daughter, and Christine's daughter's husband. So in this interview, Mackelty actually said that Kody keeps trying to have a relationship with her, but isn't accepting it because he wants it to just be her and him when she wants all of her siblings included. So, for instance, he'll come to her and then she'll say, "Well, have you talked to my little sister today?" And he'll say, "Oh, that's another relationship. I just want to focus on our relationship, and that's a whole other one I'll deal with later." And McKelty doesn't like that because McKelty cares about her little sisters. McKelty wants her sisters to be included. McKelty wants her little sisters to have their father. She says she's a package deal, that if he wants her, he has to take her little sisters with her. And I personally think that's commendable that she's putting aside a relationship she could have that all of the siblings want. And she's putting it aside because she's saying, if they can't have it, then I don't want it. I want them to have it too. And I think that's a very big sister thing to do and a very like loving sibling thing to do to ensure that he's a good father to all of them and not just her. And this is relevant because people have pointed out that, especially McKelty pointed out in this interview that some of her siblings are upset because with Cody's fourth wife, Robin, the only wife he has left, they're upset with her because they say that her father spent most of the time with Robin and his children, and that McKelty said that her and her siblings think if Robin was a better person, she would have said, "No, don't spend all this time with me and my kids. Go spend time with your other kids," and encourage them to do that. But Robin never did that. In fact, Cody himself once said that Robin Robin has two children with Cody, like biological children. Cody once said that the youngest one, the little girl, the last child they all have together, that she would beg Cody not to leave the house and not to not go see the other wives, but just to not leave, even though he was on his way to see the other wives. And Cody would tell Robin, "Robin, you have to do something about this. I have to go see the other wives and kids." And then Robin would tell Cody, "Cody, she loves you. She misses you. Let her act out. Let her have this moment. Be in these emotions with her." And then Cody would have to deal with it. Now, that kind of lines up with what McKelty's saying because instead of thinking about the other children who were missing their father, Robin only thought about her own kid who was missing her father who had just been with him. She wasn't taking the kid away and saying, "No, he has to go do this." She was just letting it happen. And this was Cody outing this information. This was Cody saying that this is how Robin handled things. So it tracks with what McKelty was saying, where McKelty said, Robin didn't encourage him to go see us. She would just embrace him to be with her and her children. And that's why I think what McKelty is doing is so commendable because McKelty could do the same thing and say, "Hey, dad loves me. Dad wants a relationship with me. Dad is trying with me, and I'm going to accept it." But instead, McKelty says, "Okay, dad's trying with me, but he's not trying with all of my siblings who I love. So I'm not going to accept this. I'm going to encourage him to include all of us to have me too." But Cody's not, Robin didn't do that. Robin was just like, "Oh, he doesn't want any of them? Okay, then I'll take him. He can stay with me and my kids," instead of just encouraging him to go be with them. Now, another thing I'm going to point out here, which is really important, is Cody evidently once said this quote. Cody said, "My children will always be my children, and the door will always be open to them. They've got to come through that door. I'm going to be holding a hand out for that, but I'm going to be holding this hand that next to me, and I won't let go of that hand." He's talking about Robin. So he's saying he has an open hand out for his children to take, but in his other hand, he's holding on tightly to his wife, Robin. But here's where the problem comes in. The addition to this quote said, "I will not cut off Robin to have a relationship with my children." Now, you might be thinking, okay, maybe that's fine. He doesn't want to cut off his wife just to have a relationship with his children. Like, he's not going to just abandon his wife. First of all, though, no one's asking him to abandon her. They're just asking him to spend less time with her, to spend time with them, or to spend time with them in general. But what I want to say here, what I think the most important thing to say is he says, "I will not cut off Robin to have a relationship with my children." However, he was willing to cut off every single child of his to have a relationship with Robin. And I think that's disgusting. You can't say, "I will not cut off Robin to have a relationship with my children," but then on the other hand, you're cutting off all your children to have a relationship with Robin. All of them. So you're not willing to let go of Robin's hand, but you're willing to let go of your children's hand? The children who need you in their life to guide them. Even as adults, children still need their parents. And he completely just doesn't care. He would rather hold on to this woman's hand. Sure, yes, he committed to her. That's his wife. He should be committed to her, but it shouldn't be at the expense of his children. He shouldn't be willing to give up all of his children. And he has a lot of children, you guys, like what, 18 of them? He should not be willing to give up his children for a new woman. And that's the truth. And what's interesting about this is his third wife, Christine, had issues when Robin first joined the family because she said he's replacing me and my kids with Robin and her kids. And that was a fear of hers. And she thought she was being overly jealous and overly just like panicked. But that is the truth. That's what happened. He ended up replacing all of his wives and children with this new wife and children. So for him to be so bold enough to say, I will not cut off Robin to have a relationship with my children, but he will cut off his children to have a relationship with Robin is sick because he cut off Garrison, Gabe, a lot of his children because they didn't accept Robin. He just cut them off. Instead of having relationships with them or trying to mend and heal and bring them all together, or even just like one at a time, having a relationship with them and then bringing Robin into it. Instead of doing that, he just was like, no, I'm going to stand here with Robin. And if you don't accept Robin, you don't accept me. Yet, he doesn't understand when McKelty does that. When McKelty says, hey, if you don't accept my sisters, if you don't accept my brothers and all of my siblings, if you don't accept them, then I can't have a relationship with you because you don't love them too. So she's doing exactly what Kody's doing, but hers makes more sense because those are her siblings. Those are her siblings and those are Kody's children. It doesn't make sense in Kody's regard because Kody is asking his children, or rather demanding his children, to love a woman who isn't encouraging them, isn't encouraging him to love them, who is fine with keeping him away from them. Again, I think it was a really telling moment for Kody to say, when I tried to go to other wives' houses and be with other kids, Robin's kids with me would, well, one of the kids would throw a fit and I would have to stay and cater to that kid, and Robin didn't help me with that situation. I think that was pretty telling when he outed that moment because all of the other wives, when their kids miss Kody, they would all sit down the kids and be like, your dad has to go to his other children. Your dad has to go to the other wife. They would all be everything worked out for those three originally because they all knew what they were getting into. They all cooperated and worked together. Now, I'm not personally a fan of polygamy. I'm just saying they knew what they were doing in the beginning. And when this fourth edition came in and didn't adhere to those rules and just kind of was like, no, you need to stay with my kids. No, you need to do this. Because in the interview with Pop Psych, Tony, which is McKelty's husband, actually said that Robin demanded things of Kody that the other wives didn't demand. He demanded more. She demanded more time with her children. She demanded he be there for birthdays, holidays, everything. She demanded things that the other wives didn't know that they could demand. They didn't know that they could do that. But because she had the advantage of being the new wife and letting him know what she expected and kind of having him woo her, she got everything that they wanted and more. But yeah, I personally think it's disgusting that Cody says he wouldn't cut off Robin for his kids, but he would cut off his children for Robin because they're not even asking him to cut off Robin. They're just asking him to be fair. Whereas he will cut all of them off just because they're not nice to her. And by the way, not being nice to her just means that they don't accept her just consuming all of his time and not encouraging him to go see them. Now, one thing I will say, this was a really good interview. You guys should check it out, the McKelty and Tony interview for Sister Wives. McKelty was really open and very insightful, and she shared a lot of information. And Allison, Pop Psych's wife, Allison, was such a good interviewer. Like she was asking the hard hitting questions, but in such a like casual and calming way where it just seemed like an environment where McKelty could speak to her. Because like Allison was not afraid to ask the question. She would ask challenging questions to be like, "Can I ask this?" And then if McKelty would answer, Allison would be like, "Why?" Like to get further insight into it. She was great in this interview. Like she should honestly host all the reunions. One thing I will criticize David for though, Pop Psych. I don't think I'll be watching this, but just I'm gonna criticize this is there was one moment where McKelty shared that she herself has kind of taken a step back from Robin because she wants to know if when Robin came into the family, Robin manipulated her, and she doesn't know if Robin's feelings are sincere. David kind of said, "Well, it doesn't matter. She was there for you. She saved your life. She was a good mother to you. So it doesn't really matter if she was there to manipulate whatever." I don't think that's correct. I think that McKelty does have every reason to be cautious, and she should care about whether she was manipulated because if she was manipulated then, it means she was manipulated now, and she was groomed to be manipulated, and that's very serious. Which is why McKelty should take time away to be like, is this authentic? Was I used? So that she knows how to move forward. I don't think it was necessarily safe to tell her, well, it doesn't matter if she what the reason was, McKelty. She was there for you. I don't think that that's a good message. Even Allison kind of just stared at David when he said it. Like his wife just stared at him. I don't think that that's good advice. I think McKelty should pursue the truth because if she was manipulated then, she's manipulated now, and then she's not thinking clearly and she's not doing what's best for her and her siblings if she's being manipulated. So I think it's best that she's taking time away to see like if the relationship is authentic or not, because I think it does matter if Robin is manipulating her and hurting the family. That's all I'll say. I think Kody is ultimately the one who hurt the family, though, because no matter what Robin did, Kody chose to leave his kids behind. Kody chose to favor another woman above his whole entire family. That's Kody as a grown man's decision. Yes, Robin was probably in his ear. Yes, Robin probably made it easier to enable lazy behavior as a father to not support his kids because apparently Cody recently did an interview where he said that he wanted to apologize to his kids, and then like a week after being with Robin, he actually changed what he said and now says he doesn't want to apologize. So she's definitely in his ear, but it's him allowing himself to be manipulated because look what McKelty's doing. McKelty's like, am I being manipulated? Let me take a step back to see if I am. That's what Cody should be doing. Cody should say, let me take a step back. I'll still be with Robin, but let me take a step back, think clearly, not let her opinions cloud my judgment with my kids. He should be doing what McKelty is doing. McKelty is taking a step back. She's saying, is Robin manipulating me? Is this okay? Do I have the right thoughts here? Like, because she needs to know, is she arguing on Robin's behalf for her siblings and invalidating their feelings when they're true feelings to have? This is why I think it's important that she step away and reevaluate, and why I think Cody should too. I'm not saying he should divorce Robin. I'm saying he should separate his relationship with his children from Robin because it doesn't make sense that Cody says, McKelty, you're my daughter. Our relationship is different from all of my other children. Let me deal with this here. Why is that okay? But he can't say, Robin, you're my wife. I'm still with you, but I'm going to have all these relationships with my children and try to fix them. Why can't he do that? Why can't he do that with Robin? Why can he only say, hey, McKelty, I have to separate you from all your kids right now? Like, from all the kids right now. Why can't he say, Robin, I have to separate this couple, us as a couple, to be with my kids? Not divorce her. I'm saying he should say, Robin, I can't think about what my kids are saying or doing to you right now because the ultimate problem is that they feel like I've abandoned them, and I need to show them that I have not abandoned them. And that's just my overall thought. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Comment, share your thoughts. Let me know what you agree with, disagree with, what you know that I don't, and anything you want to share. I read all comments.